Hey Bourbon fans, I'm Tim the Suburban Dad, and I'm here to help dads find great bourbon. Hey Bourbon fans, I'm Tim the Suburban Dad, here to help dads find great bourbon. This year in 2023, I had the privilege of going to not one, but two bourbon festivals, the Kentucky Bourbon Festival and the St. Louis Bourbon Festival. At the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, arguably the most iconic bourbon event of the year, there was amazing whiskey there, all kinds of stuff to try, but there was one bottle that stood out in particular. I'm going to share that with you tonight. Let's get to it. First, I just want to say that with the new baby and the holidays coming up in the next couple weeks, I am going to take a very short break from posting videos. I'll be right back with you guys early January, kick things off in the new year, recap 2023, both my top whiskeys of the year, best bookers of the year, hopefully having a special guest for that one. So we'll get right back into things at the beginning of the year, but don't expect any videos on the 26th or the 2nd, okay? But I'll be right back in action after that. So in the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, I had over 30 different whiskeys that weekend, ryes, bourbons, and there was some really good stuff. I honestly enjoyed the craft distillery and or non-distillery companies that are producing some really interesting whiskey. Again, after all the samples that I tried, all the huge name brand companies out there, I only went back and bought a single bottle from the whole event. Tried this, went around to some other tents and realized, you know what? That was so good, I don't want to miss out on it. I gotta go grab a bottle. Drum roll. Buzzards Roost, folks. Buzzards Roost. This was a straight bourbon that was special for this event only, a single barrel. Now, if you haven't heard of Buzzards Roost, they are an up-and-coming brand, absolutely. So they are sourced whiskey. They don't do their own stuff so far. What's unique about them is they finish all their whiskey in a secondary barrel. All their barrels are a level 1 char, and they have different toasted profiles that help bring out the different flavors from the whiskey. So this is MGP juice, and they finish it and blend it all themselves in Kentucky. This particular bottle is specifically for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and it is 114.4 proof. It was 95 bucks. I've been honestly saving this bottle because it was so special, and it's one of a kind, single barrel. It's never going to happen again, but I do want to open it up and try it with you guys, just to be able to shed some light on Buzzards Roost, because they are, like I said, even though they're sourced, they're doing some great stuff, and it's really delicious. Okay, color's decent, pretty dark on the nose. Right away, just a little bit of an ethanol burn. Not bad. There's like vanilla frosting, but also tobacco. It's smoky and sweet all at the same time. Yeah, definitely a lot of tobacco on the nose. So let's taste it. Rich caramel, vanilla, tobacco. A really great flavor profile. I find that, gosh, the more you sip it, the better it gets. The vanilla is so strong. The vanilla and the tobacco, fantastic with just caramel to smooth it all together. It's got a medium-long finish. The finish isn't actually overwhelmingly there, but it's it's still there. Full, rich mouthfeel, not very fruity at all, not super spicy, little bit of oak, but those three things I keep mentioning, vanilla, caramel, tobacco, very strong on there. Really great, really great. Here's a quick story, mostly embarrassing, but also decently funny. At the St. Louis Bourbon Festival, just a few weeks after the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, they had various speakers and events that you could go to within the festival amidst trying all kinds of different whiskeys. One of them was a tasting with one of the owners of Buzzards Roost, Jason Bronner. And so I thought, man, that's fantastic. It was the end of the night. So I signed up for that. I was doing my thing, tasting all kinds of bourbons and whiskeys, and I got sidetracked with one booth. I reconnected with an old friend, and he insisted I try all these amazing whiskeys, and they were amazing. I looked at my clock and realized, smartphone, realized I had to get my butt over to the Buzzards Roost tasting event. Well, by that point, I was starting to feel it. And not just being a little less inhibited, but also just my gut was starting to feel a little upset. The festival was set up a little confusing. There was not a clear direction. I had to kind of hunt down the building and the room. I was arriving a little bit late. Everybody was already there and seated. Jason was already talking and doing his thing. So I crept quietly in, which in retrospect probably sounded like a rabid elephant coming into the room. I sit down in my chair. I used all my might at the moment to try and pay attention and to follow along. I even started nosing some of the bourbon along with everybody else, but man, I could not bring myself to even take one little sip further of whiskey that night. So I just drank the tiny bottle of water at my spot, and then very quietly snuck out midway through in front of Jason and everybody. So I felt so bad.
I am ashamed.
I disrupted poor Jason's presentation, probably distracted everybody else. And on top of that, I missed out on the tasting. By that point, I couldn't even enjoy it. So I'm really glad that I have this bottle. And the exciting thing is that Buzzards Roost is now in Missouri. Awesome. They're in 10 states and they're available online. So if you haven't checked them out, do so. Jason, I'm so sorry, sir. I would be more than happy to work with you and chat about Buzzards Roost. I very much regret missing out on your event. Hopefully there'll be another opportunity. Have you gotten to try Buzzards Roost at all? What's been your experience with it? Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you all in 2024. Cheers.